Yeah. So can you just make sure that those are added to the hub? Thank you. Stewart. Yes. Hello.
So that I've also got a presentation for Peer and Foreshore Society, and we'll just group this into one thing, if that's okay by you.
Yes, they're absolutely fine.
Thank you for your time, councillors and Mayor. We've got a few points to talk to, and we've got a bit of a screen up there at some stage. First of all, thank you for your support of the Duke Festival of Surfing. New Brighton really goes well on that one. We've had a couple of successful years. Maybe we haven't had great surf, but it's a really good community thing. And thank you very much for your support, and look forward to your continuing support. Also, thank you for your support of DCL. Our new playground at the pier is an absolutely resounding success. They've done it well, and we look forward to our hot pools now. So thank you for your continued support. Our second point I'd like to talk on is freedom camping, and I guess you probably have heard a bit about this already from everyone. You know, our foreshore is polluted. So maybe can we suggest a few things. In the short term, and when we say short term, we mean 6 to 8 weeks, maybe we can just change some signage and just advise people of the alternatives to going there. We've got a South Brighton motor camp, it's got facilities there, it's not overpriced. For those people that do camp there, we've got toilets in the vicinity, but a lot of those toilets are only closed in there. Can we either have them 24/7 or put some portaloos in there? And then the last thing is rubbish, and it's the perennial problem, I guess. We just need some more rubbish bins there, or a better or a more efficient collection method. You might say that the more bins, that there'll be more rubbish, but we don't believe that. Rubbish is going to go somewhere at some time anyway. In the long term, we would like to see the council try and facilitate a venue like they have in Blenheim, which is a private enterprise. It's a pay-as, and you probably have seen this.
We've actually talked to this guy. Yeah, okay. It's great.
Thank you. But last of all, maybe we need a coastal camping investment. Someone that can welcome the people to the area, and knock on their doors or camper windows or whatever, inform them of the facilities around. It might just be a handout. Enforce moving on if necessary, so give them some powers. And that will give you, the council, valuable feedback. If Gisborne, Nelson, Dunedin and Mackenzie councils can do this, I think we can too. The third point is our community board. They have requested some funding to tidy up the south side of the pier. Pier and Foreshore wholeheartedly support this one. The grassed area needs a rethink, and the ugly, disrespectful barrier around the cenotaph needs to go. We need an appropriate fence. I'll ask those photos. The next point, Esther will speak to.
Oh, no, you've got your duty.
Okay, I'll do my duty 30. The city had a duty 30,
yeah. Named
and shamed. Look at that collage. We've got the equivalent. I'm just those owners have little respect for residents, the years of New Brighton Mall, and the council really. Are we able to facilitate some sort of action on those guys, even if it's not financial, but just helping them to actually remedy some of this. Some of it's unsafe. If you look at the car park, someone can easily roll an ankle or fall over there, especially with the elderly, and we've got a lot of those there. So we need some help. Over to you, Esther.
The Pier and Foreshore Society would also like to highlight that we believe that the support in regards to getting Brighton back on track is not just at a city council level, that the council has been directed by government. This is an excerpt from the letter of intent, that the council should be working together with DCL and Regen to get stuff happening. I know that there would be a suggestion that it is happening, but the reality on the ground is that we are not seeing anything happen. So I think it's worth noting that this is not just a group of New Brighton residents coming to complain. This has been recognised by the government as being a significant issue in a significant area.
Good. This last one is more in my own right. I don't want to speak for Pier and Foreshore on this one, but it borders on the estuary edge. And if we go back a couple there, Esther, if we can.
Two.
And that one there. You know, there's people in the coastal that feel like this, and we seriously don't want to be moaners all the time, but that's how some people feel. The Local Government Act of 2002 lists a core service as being avoidance or mitigation of natural hazards. Now, I contend that avoiding them in many instances is too late because we've already got hundreds of houses there. But if we look at the next slide, this is what the mitigation of the estuary edge means in two parts of the town. On the left, you've got 2/3 of the estuary edge. Nicely done, properly done. On the right, and we can guess where that is, that's what we've got on the other side of it. I don't think that is particularly equitable. I've heard multiple reasons why the estuary edge on the east side is special, dynamic, and all the other excuses. But the crux of the matter is that if all you present here wanted to have equal treatment on all sides of the estuary, that is equal treatment for all coastal residents, that would happen and pronto. My plea to you is say no to the officials who manipulate your decisions with techniques such as overcosting, land ownership issues, delaying tactics such as the who and the how consultation. Just get on and protect equally, that is equally, the 500 families or 1,200 people who call this area home. Please act now. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, do we have questions? Vicky.
Thank you for the submission. Just to the Pier and Foreshore Society, in terms of the rubbish, which seems to have been an ongoing issue at Brighton for some time, would you like to do a local contract or something where you actually take responsibility for it in return for some small payment?
Why would it be small payment? We'll take... we will, if we are paid... Well, I'm part of Pier and Foreshore as well. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to look for solutions so that you don't have to come back and talk about the rubbish every year.
There certainly has been talk at a number of community meetings that I've been at that funding was devolved from council and we were able to perhaps employ a local person to do that. That could be something that we would consider. I think that Pier and Foreshore today have been submitting mainly, however, in regards to the freedom camping area. And I think that's quite a different thing than the general mall area, simply because freedom campers are usually moving on from our space. So I have actually discovered suitcases full of clothes in that area. So it's not just your normal rubbish, it's quite a different kind of rubbish that they're leaving. There's the normal stuff, but there's things that they've used on their holiday and their holiday is finished and they are just literally clearing out their vans and leaving. It's a different kind of rubbish.
We're open to that, though. We'd like to see numbers.
Yeah.
Definitely do it.
I mean, there's no reason that the rubbish collection couldn't be part of the New Brighton Coastal Ambassadors camping contract as well. You know, we believe that really somebody could deal with a lot of issues at once.
I know that a lot of ratepayers would ask the question, why should they pay for people who treat a suburb like that?
Well, because we're hosts, our city is hosts.
Yes, I know, but I mean, you know, it's kind of like saying that this is okay.
It's not okay.
It's not okay. It's not okay.
It's reality, really.
But which is why I like the idea. I like the Kiwi Camp concept, but I also like supporting local businesses. And there is a really good camping ground in South Brighton. Anyway, Tim.
Yeah, just following along from that, you know, like we had we've got Maori wardens and we've got we had the guys in town. If you had, say, like a coastal warden or something like that, so the contract that we give, or contracts we give out for, say, the rubbish removal, servicing the bins, etc., if you or from your group could pick up a contract like that but expand it a bit, because figures are figures, so don't worry about that, but the possibility of having someone or of staff members like a coastal warden would be far warmer and friendly than say a traffic warden enforcing. So I mean you're quite right that it's unacceptable to have people defecating and all that type of thing, but to have it's the attitude of how you do it.
I think that's absolutely why we suggested someone like a coastal camping ambassador, that it's a positive role. So it's more about welcoming people, informing people, letting people know the restrictions. You know, yes, somebody else maybe needs to enforce them, but currently they're not even being checked on.
But if we were to, say, marry that in with, say, a contract with regards to servicing the bins and cleaning, etc., if that were part of it, would you be interested in putting in a bid for that?
I think it would be fair to say, and I know that many of you follow the Facebook page, the People's Independent Republic of Brighton. Most people in New Brighton do feel that if we got adequate funding, that we would be able to do a lot of really proactive things in our community.
I'm not talking about funding, I'm talking about a contract, because at the moment we have a number of contracts for service. So if we did a contract for service, so you're actually it's not a grant or a funding to a community board or whatever, it is actually for a specific role.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, David.
Not a question, but just a statement to the acting chief executive. Officer, it has been pointed out to me in recent days that although we have a toilet in Thompson Park, there's no signage to actually say there's one there. So, and that's sort of right across the road from where a lot of this freedom camping does occur, but there's no actual signage to say toilet over the road.
Right, so there might be multiple solutions.
There are toilets at both extreme ends of the freedom camping area.
There are.
The one that Dave's referring to in Rafiti domain is questionable.
Right.
It's there. I'd rather they used it than the bushes. But
Rafiti or Thompson Park?
At Thompson Park. It's pretty shady. My kids prefer to go home when we're at the park than to use that facility. And the other toilets at the other extreme are the ones under the pier. Under the
pier, yeah. Have you talked to DCL also about the desire for the redesign of the areas south of the pier?
No.
Is that worth doing?
I think Pier and Foreshore have spoken to DCL about just about everything under the sun in regards to New Brighton, but currently there's a lot of focus on the hot saltwater pools, so that's where the conversations have been headed. Right,
but I just wonder whether it's something that could be included in that wider design.
I think the whole, as I said in my personal section, the fact that there are so many agencies, so many things makes it very frustrating to know who to talk to about each.
If I could have actually had the decision, it would have been one agency, not three, so there you go.
That's okay.
Yanni, sorry, I forgot your name for a minute.
Thank you.
Yanni, no one will say.
I had a mental block.
Yeah, it would be good for us to get some information back around the DCL audit of the maintenance contract. But just in terms of toilets, I was quite surprised the ones at the children's playground are locked at night. Do you think it would be worth having those open, or is there reasons why they close quite early at night?
There's a lot of reasons for why these things happen, but I don't know how practical they are. I think that if there's adequate lighting and maybe security camera footage, if that's what people are worried about, then absolutely those facilities should be open.
They just seem like brand new, the flashless toilets in the area.
Toilets, and we can't use them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
How much time have we got?
You've got 1 minute and 33 seconds.
I'd just like to finish with a very quick analogy. I think that the way that Council, DCL and Region need to look at New Brighton is that the city is a family, and there are, 7 wards? How many wards do we have? You've got 7 kids, for example. And what happens in a family is that when stuff happens, you deal to the kids who need it. So it's like imagining you have a family and 2 of your children get diagnosed with a really serious illness. So you use all of the resources in your bank account to help those children. You buy the best medical care, you feed them the best diet. And of course, it's really important because you are a family, that everyone sticks together and everyone pulls together. What's happening with New Brighton is that, and the central city, they've been identified by government as areas that are, they need some assistance. What is happening at the moment is there is a feeling that some of these agencies, some people, some staff within these organisations have a feeling that things need to be equitable. And rather than looking after those who are sick, it's saying, well, look, here's the money, we're going to split it evenly. You guys go and buy your new car, get some new wardrobes, and we'll use the money for the sick kids for them to get better, but they don't get a new car and they don't get a new wardrobe. They have to go around looking shabby because they're using our family money on just, on their recovery. So I think that if we could, as a council, as DCL region, could all come together and say this is a family thing. There are two areas, the city, Central City and New Brighton, that have been identified as unwell. Let's get them well.
Yeah, New Brighton is in the letter of expectation because of the City Council, not because of central government.
Yeah.
So we insisted that New Brighton was part of that story of the journey from the city to the sea, which the now green spine as opposed to the red zone represents. So very much a big part of the regeneration of the city as a whole. So your message certainly has been heard and will continue to be heard. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Just one thing. I'm surprised I've got no questions about the estuary.
Well, I mean, we've heard a number of submissions on it, so we do understand what the issues are, and it is again another one that's caught up. It's a residential red zone area. We're not the decision makers at this stage, so but we're certainly part of the process. I actually like the how process because it enables the community to have a real say about how they want to be engaged. But, we haven't had a briefing from the how group yet, and I'm hoping that we will get to do that sometime very soon. But I know that Regenerate Christchurch want to come and brief the council on where they've got to so far, and we will obviously take that into account. But we are not the decision makers at the front end of this process. I'm hoping that we will have more of an influence as the process proceeds.
Thank you.